Hey, y'all, Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and this is my Seattle Real Estate Market Watch for January 16th, 2024. Well, it's finally starting to warm up here in Seattle, and I don't just mean the real estate market. It has been super cold. It was even sub-zero temperatures over in eastern Washington, where I was this weekend. And looking at the stats here, it's pretty obvious that the same thing is happening in the housing market. We started off the year and finished 2023. The market watch I did at the beginning of January, 69 new listings. So it's just a slow, kind of dead period. And we're starting to see that listing activity is picking up. So last week we had 267 listings. This week, 254, pretty similar activity. Last year, we had 342 listings the same time. So we're still not seeing as much listing activity as we have in previous years. And if you remember, 2023 was a year where we saw less than the year before. So we're not starting off the year great as far as the new listing inventory goes. And I would say that that's not great for buyers, because what we're seeing is we're still seeing a lot of sales happening. And if we drop down to the bottom of our stats here, we've got pending sales picking up, 522 versus 432 last week. Last year we had 587 pending sales, so similar to last year. But what we're noticing is we're seeing those pending sales picking up, and although the listings are picking up, they're almost double the amount of new listings, more than double in some cases here across King and Snohomish County. Listings sold 256, almost the same as the new listings. Last week we had 314 closed sales, and then last year 278, just for perspective. It's interesting that we're starting the new year. We've talked about rates, and we've talked about how interest rates are projected to come down. The Fed's even announced they're going to make some adjustments and cuts to the Fed funds rate. Again, not directly connected, but correlated to mortgage rates. We're seeing rates staying the same for mortgages, or roughly the same as they were, at least from last week to this week. 6.8 was the average for the day last week, and then this week we're looking at 6.77. So things have ebbed and flowed a little bit, but staying about the same range. Rates were well above 8 in 2023 towards the end of the year, so they've come down substantially, but they've not quite adjusted to where I think some people would like to see them, but already made some pretty big drops from the end of 2023. And I think a lot of people are expecting that those rates are going to continue to drop, maybe not until later in the year, but we hit summer and maybe even the fall, we might see rates hitting low to mid fives, maybe even the fours. That's at least what some people are talking about. As we look to the spring coming up in the Seattle housing market, I will say that I think that we're gonna see more inventory, but not necessarily more than normal. I think we're gonna see still lower inventory, probably similar to what we saw last year. But the big difference right now is that there are more buyers starting to come back into the market. We've been seeing the existing inventory disappearing, and unless we get a lot more houses coming on the market, we're gonna find ourselves, I think, in a similar situation to last spring, where we see multiple offers and we see houses selling above asking price. That may be sustained through the whole year if we see the rates come down more. But even where rates are at now, if we see that the amount of listing inventory doesn't pick up a lot and we continue to see the supply dwindling, it's only going to put pressure on the few houses that are available. So I expect the spring housing market to be competitive in Seattle. And if you're somebody buying, I would just be prepared for that. I would be prepared that if you're not buying right now, that you're probably going to be facing some competition come spring and summer. And if you're somebody that's thinking about selling, that getting your house ready now and prepared for that time slot, whether it's a few weeks or even a few months where there's some more competition and pressure on the prices, that's going to be the best time to sell in 2024. Thanks so much for tuning into this week's Seattle Real Estate Market Watch. If you got all the way to the end here, I know that this was valuable for you. So a few favors that I have to ask. Number one, please subscribe and follow along on a regular basis. And if you have real estate needs here in the Seattle area, I would love to connect with you.